intended in such a way that our political representative will share their party's opinion, basically not personal opinion, and then our two people from China, two brothers from China, will also be expressing their thoughts and idea related to certain questions. So I'll just be very brief about the rules of this rules of how this panel discussion will be organized. The first rule is basically we have agreed that Nepalese speaker will be speaking in Nepali, and then Chinese speakers will be speaking in English, and there will be some provisions of interpretations as much as possible, and there will be 4 rounds of questions. The first round, the second round, third and the fourth round, and then the question will be very specific, and we actually expect a very specific and concise answers, a response from political representatives and our scholars from China. So the first question, we have 6 रिजालज्यूलाई नेपाली कांग्रेसको औपचारिक या धारणा यो BRI को बारेमा सोध्न चाहन्छु। तपाईलाई यसको लागि 2 मिनेटको समय हुनेछ। पहिलो प्रश्न के हो भने नेपाली कांग्रेसको BRI अथवा वैदेशिक लगानी सम्बन्धी वैदेशिक लगानी लगायत BRI सम्बन्धी स्पेसिफिक धारणा के हो?
Thank you very much for having me on the panel. I probably would not be able to answer very specifically, but still, we do understand that our relationship with our neighbors is very important, both neighbors, number one. Number two, our priority for infrastructure development is very important. We have had a long relationship, and trusted relationship between Nepal and China. That will continue in the future also. Cooperation from both neighbors is going to be very important. We emphasize that. And number 4 would be on BRI as such, we have many times emphasized that we would love to see most of it be grant. We have not said that it has to be grant only, but we have said, we would love to see it, most of it to be grant. And then again, we're pretty happy that we can talk about the projects that have been identified and now are in the schedule of the BRI document, and that could be added or could be deleted. And then again, I would like to see that the cooperation between our two countries will be deepened, and we can with pride say to the international world that our relationship is based on sovereign equality, and then should be such that it would not be frowned upon by anybody else.
थ्याङ्क यू तपाईको कन्साइज उत्तरको लागि। र म यही प्रश्न म तपाईले भन्नुभएको ग्रान्ट्स अथवा अरू खाले असिस्टेन्सको प्रश्नमा पछाडि फलोअप क्वेसन्समा आउनेछु। म यही प्रश्न नेकपा एमालेका नेता सुरेन्द्र पाण्डेज्यूलाई सोध्न चाहन्छु कि नेकपा एमालेको प्रष्ट धारणा BRI सम्बन्धी के हो?
धन्यवाद। Thank you very much for organizing this important gathering in Kathmandu. In the name of Kathmandu Dialogue. It's a Kathmandu Dialogue? Kastamandap Dialogue. Yes, very good name. First of all, from my party, very recently, our party chairman and the Prime Minister has visited China and signed BRI. Both the parties involved in the government has signed in this BRI framework. So that means UML clearly support the BRI framework. I think Nepali Congress also has joined hand with BRI framework. Second thing is regarding our relation, bilateral relation. China is our good friend, good neighbor. It will continue forever. Third thing is regarding the support we are wanting from China. It will depend on the condition of Nepal. For example, we will discuss in the later also. There are a couple of issues regarding the support we are seeking from our friends. First, what will be the interest rate? Second, what will be the payback period? Third, what will be the other conditions? Suppose we will construct the project domestic side or the other side. What will be the condition for the using the raw materials? There are a couple of issues we have to discuss, and that should be the purpose for the benefit of the nation. That should be the first priority. Nepal should have the benefit. Automatically, it will be benefited to the other part, China also. But the concern mainly, whatever we receive, we want to receive the support from the abroad. That should be concerned according to the national interest. How we can use that amount in very calculative way.
Thank you,
Yes.
Surendraji, for saying that UML is with BRI. And then I go to Dev Gurung from CPN Maoist. CPN Maoist को चाहिँ प्रष्ट धारणा, अनकन्डिसनल, अनक्वालिफाइड, अगाडि पछाडि केही नराखिएको धारणालाई छोटोमा बताइदिनुहुन्छ।
धन्यवाद खैनरजी। BRI कार्यान्वयन हुनुपर्छ भन्ने पक्षमा छौँ। लामो समयपछि झन्डै MOU भएको 7 वर्षपछि यो BRI फ्रेमिङ सम्बन्धी कोअपरेसनको सम्झौता भएको छ र त्यो सम्झौता कार्यान्वयन गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने पक्षमा छौँ र कार्यान्वयनका लागि निश्चय पनि चुनौतीहरू छन्। पहिलो कुरा त सरकारको तर्फबाट कति, नेपाल सरकारको तर्फबाट कति पहल हुन्छ हुँदैन, धेरै कुरा त्यसैमा निर्भर छ। विगत कालमा विलम्ब हुनुको पछाडि, 7 वर्षमा विलम्ब हुनुको पछाडि पनि मेरो विचारमा नेपाल पक्षकै सीमाहरू सायद रहे कि भन्ने लाग्छ। दोस्रो कुरा नेपालको स्टेबिलिटी, स्थिरता, स्थायित्व कति हुन्छ भन्ने कुरामा पनि निर्भर रहने देखिन्छ। तर पनि जुनसुकै कन्डिसनमा पनि BRI कार्यान्वयन हुनुपर्छ, लागू हुनुपर्छ। नेपालको राष्ट्रिय हितमा छ। जे जस्ती कन्डिसनहरू, शर्तहरू अथवा जे जस्ती प्रस्तावनाहरू छन्, पूर्वाधार निर्माण सम्बन्धी, कनेक्टिभिटी सम्बन्धी जो प्रस्तावनाहरू छन्, ती कुराहरू कार्यान्वयन हुनुपर्छ भन्ने लाग्छ। कार्यान्वयनको पाटोको सन्दर्भमा प्रोजेक्टगत आधारमा एग्रिमेन्ट, छुट्टै फेरि एग्रिमेन्ट हुने भएको हुनाले प्रोजेक्टगत आधारमा एग्रिमेन्ट हुँदाखेरि कति नेपालको अनुदान हुन्छ, कति चीनको अनुदान हुन्छ, कति ऋण हुन्छ, कति के हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा प्रोजेक्टगत आधारमा होला। अहिले नीतिगत रूपमा जे सहमति भएको छ त्यो ठिक छ र त्यसलाई कार्यान्वयन गर्ने प्रक्रियामा पहल गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने लाग्छ। धन्यवाद।
尼泊尔国家是一直我们当派这个必须要“一带一路”要合作项目，然后因为我们已经7年没有做任何事情，但是去年签约MOU以后必须要做。另外一个我们要清楚我们的这个项目什么样的项目，然后怎么做，然后很多东西是因为我们尼方的可能原因延误了。然后现在已经签约了，每一个项目，各种项目有各种不同的这个方法来签约合同，所以我们一直这个说尽快“一带一路”要合作项目要落实最快。
थ्याङ्क यू। सबैजना 4 जना राजनीतिक प्रतिनिधिहरूको यो उत्तरपछि हामी 2 जना चाइनिज स्कलर्सहरूलाई प्रश्न सोध्छौँ र माई क्वेसन विल बी भेरी स्पेसिफिक। वाट इज द्याट डिस्टिङटिभनेस by virtue of which BRI will contribute to deepening China-Nepal cooperation and will drastically transform Nepal? What is that distinctiveness? This question goes to Professor Yang Yabu.
Thank you. 大家下午好。为了能够更好的表达我对于这个问题的这样一个理解，我下午可能需要我的这个尼泊尔的这个好朋友高亮先生把我表达的这样一个意思进行一个翻译。我想说的是，关于这个“一带一路”倡议，它是一个开放式的这样一个计划。 那么要推动这样一个开放式的这样一个计划，它在全球之内，他发出了这样一个倡议，它事实上有5大支柱，我认为有5大支柱。这5大支柱，我昨天在我的这个演讲当中也跟大家做了这个分享，包括这个政策沟通，设施联通，这个金融畅通，这个包括这个民心相通。
मलाई चाहिँ भन्न सजिलो होस् भनेर मेरो साथीको सहयोग गरेर मैले चाइनिजमा बोलेँ। BRI चाहिँ एउटा अपर्च्युनिटी हो र ओपन एउटा बिग पब्लिक गुड्स पनि जस्तै हो। त्यसमा चाहिँ थुप्रै कुराहरू मैले हिजोको प्रेजेन्टेसनमा पनि भनिसकेको थिएँ र अहिले यसमा चाहिँ कनेक्टिभिटीहरू, आर्थिक विकासहरू र थुप्रै कुराहरूमा चाहिँ यसले सहकारीले चाहिँ सबैलाई सहयोग हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ मलाई विश्वास लाग्छ र मैले हिजो पनि मेरो प्रेजेन्टेसनमा यसको डिटेलिङहरू बारेमा चाहिँ भनिसकेको थिएँ। धन्यवाद।
The same question, perhaps slightly modified, goes to Professor Wang. So the question, let me rephrase the question in this way. How can BRI deepen China-Nepal cooperation and be beneficial for Nepal?
Thank you, Chair, for the great question. I would frame my answer in this way. In my personal opinion, firstly, I do not speak for my government, and I'm a bystander here today. I'm a humble student, learner of my Nepali colleagues and politician. So my answer goes like this. I think the most important thing, or something that Nepal really lacks, is the physical connectivity between our countries, two countries. We're having a barrier of natural geography. You know how difficult this terrain is. We're talking about high mountains, goes like 10,000 feet high. And to traverse these extremely difficult terrain, it requires a lot of advanced technologies, huge amount of investment, and possibly human lives from both sides. With these gigantic colossal project, we will have closer connectivity, which will benefit the Nepali government. You can have your commodities by taking advantage of this connectivity. Have them shipped to Europe. Have them shipped to North America, even Africa. With your market, be open also to products from all over the world, including China. That means more vibrant, economy. Think about it. As simple as that. And goes like this. Connectivity, alternative connectivity with China also means that you no longer have to worry about being blocked by your southern neighbor someday, whenever you have political differences or you disagree on certain issues. Are those benefits enough for you? Good enough? If you think, probably not, it's your decision to make. We will not say anything to pressurize you, to dictate to you. You have to accept it. It's your decision, basically, to make. We're just, a kind, warm-hearted neighbor standing by, waiting for you to decide, waiting for you to act. That's my answer.
Thank you.
补充一下我想说的是，这个17年我们2个国家签了这个关于"一带一路"的这样一个备忘录。正如我昨天这个演讲当中说的一样，我们在这个7年多8年以来，我们在这个5通领域事实上已经取得了 很多的这样一个进展和成绩。那么我们经常会讨论，可能我们尼泊尔这个各界，包括我们中国的这样一个知识界，也经常在讨论这个9个项目的这个事儿。我的一个观点就是，事实上，9个项目它只是我们这个推进“一带一路”合作的一部分，而不是我们这个推进“一带一路”合作的这个全部。我们不能只盯着这9个项目的这样一个进展，而是要看到我们在这样一个全球化的这样一个倡议的这样一个背景下，我们取得的各个方面的这样一个进展。
म सानो कुराहरू भन्न सक्छु। हामी 2017मा MOU साइन गरेर अहिलेसम्म धेरै डिस्कसनहरू फोरमहरू पनि भइसक्यो हो। अनि मैले हिजो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ 9वटा प्रोग्रामहरू भने, तर 9वटा प्रोग्राम भनेर चाहिँ BRI को 9वटा मात्रै प्रोग्राम होइन, एउटा बेसिक एउटा इनिसियल मात्रै हो र यसको बेसमा चाहिँ हामी ग्लोबलाइज हुने गरी थुप्रै काम गर्ने र सहकार्यको फ्रेमवर्कहरू चाहिँ छ। त्यसैले यो 9वटा मात्रै चाहिँ होइन, 9वटा भनेर चाहिँ एउटा इनिसियल सुरुवातीको प्रोजेक्टहरू मात्रै भनेको हो।
我们到目前为止，这个“一带一路”这个我们2个国家的这样一个联合声明，这样一个备忘录签了以后，我们事实上还有4份联合声明。这4份联合声明事实上，很大程度上已经推动了我们这个2个国家的这样一个“一带一路”合作，并且在去年年底的这样一个联合声明发布的这样一个同时，我们又签了一个这样一个就是框架合作协议。那么从这样一个未来的这样一个角度来看，我觉得我们这个“一带一路”合作的这样一个前景会是更加的这样一个务实，成果也是值得大家期待的。
यो 2017 को बेसमा 9वटा भन्दा पनि अरू पनि थुप्रै योहरू गरेको छ र लास्ट इयरको हामीले चाहिँ वर्किङ मोडालिटीहरू पनि क्लियर गरिसकेका हो र यसले चाहिँ फ्युचर काम गर्न चाहिँ हामीहरूसँग चाहिँ बाउन्डरीहरू थुप्रै नै छन्।
Thank you. So we are almost at the end of the first round, but before we conclude the first round, I have a quick question, and I think this is very important questions to representative leaders from Nepali Congress, because Nepali Congress has been hesitant to, because there were the news frequently in the media that Nepali Congress does not want to accept BRI money or BRI assistance as a loan or interest-based loan. On what ground do you reject interest-based loan or any kind of loan which is attached with the interest? If you are in a liberal or a capitalist or a free market system, could you clarify briefly on that? Yeah.
First, what I look at is my country's debt to GDP ratio. Back in 1990, it was about 70%. And came down around 2014 to 22%. Now it has gone up to 45% now. Right? So these are the things that we keep in mind. Second, is the window for the concessional loan available or not? As long as we have that facility, LDC facility, then the concessional loan is going to be there. So for us, looking at what we pay for what we get, that's important. That said, we do cherish our relationship with China. We do understand that Chinese government also understands very well that Nepal has its own geopolitics. That has to be respected. And we assume that they do that. They know that. And then again, we take pride in the fact that BP Koirala was the first elected Prime Minister of this country, was the one who signed a territory delineation agreement with Zhou Enlai. Nepali Congress has always stood for one China, very, very clearly. And then again, but at the same time, we also want to see that how this is going to evolve. If I see something like a slogan of a party written into the joint statement, do that not make me unhappy? A left alliance ran on a platform, prosperous Nepal, happy Nepali. Mm-hmm. And that has found its way into the joint statement also. Mm-hmm. Do I not worry about that? Mm-hmm. And then again, the relationship between political parties of Nepal and political parties of other countries. It has been very sensitive issue, right? And then especially, with India, a lot of things people have heard. And then we've been very sensitive as a nation regarding our relationship with Indian political parties. But at the same time, we should also honor the fact that relationship of a political party or political parties with Communist Party of China, that's also something that has to be attended to, addressed in such a way that government-to-government relationship is separate from it. If two are confused, then that certainly creates a room for raising eyebrow.
Fair enough. Thank you for clarifying. So, does any Chinese representative want to have some thoughts on that?
Yes, with all due respect, sir, I have a counter argument here. So according to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, last year the total debt of your country stands at 1.25 trillion Nepali rupees in terms of debt. And China accounts, the loan you're accepting from China only accounts like, 2.82% of them. And ranks number 3 in terms of the creditors. So my question is that if China is not the major debt owner of your foreign debt, why should China be asked to take full responsibility to invest or to provide grant to your country? Have you ever asked the United States? Have you ever asked India? Have you ever asked the European Union to give you grants mostly instead of investment? If this is not the same case, why China is giving such a poor treatment? Would you please answer me?
Yeah, very briefly, please.
Here, I guess, I would be in wrong foot if we compare two countries. Instead, when I look at my options, I look at the options from international agencies, development partners, bilateral countries. That said, I value the relationship between Nepal and China. My party values the relationship between Nepal and China. And in 2017, I led delegation of my party to China at the invitation of the Chinese Communist Party. Met with the highest officials, was accorded very, very warm welcome. Been to China many times, have seen China progress through. I've been very happy to see that China is second largest economy in the world. But at the same time, I look at my options, and I'm not singling out any country. I'm not singling out any country. And then if you say, I take it fair and square that if you say what we say to India or to the US or to the European Union has to be the same as what I say to China. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. But if you can see the discrepancy in what we have been asking for, then you can all certainly point out. But having said that, I do understand that our relationship with China is important, and that's not going to change. That's not going to change. And China has a role as a very important bilateral partner. We're very happy. We're blessed to be bordering between India and China. Established great power, aspiring great power, second largest economy, and soon to be the third largest economy. We want to benefit from that. But at the same time, China has always understood our geopolitical sensitivities. And then we do certainly want you to respect that.
Oh, yeah, sure. 1 minute only. No. Yes.
Thank you, sir, for your clarification. So my follow-up question is that China has 14 neighbors. And amongst these 14 neighbors, Nepal is the only country asking China to provide grants mostly. And if this is the case, surely what the scenario you just described, that China is the number 2 economy in the world, soon to be the number 1, and you are sharing the border with us. It is the same case with the 13 other neighbors. If this is the case, is China supposed to provide grants to those 13 countries as well? kind of position are you putting us in?
Thank you for bringing this up, but I cannot speak for any other bordering country than Nepal.
So I think this is a very serious question. The whole Nepalese intelligentsia, political parties and intellectuals should be debating, and we cannot find a quick answer to this question. This is a very grave question, historically important and important for present and future, I understand. So let's move to round second. Maybe this kind of issue will also come up in the round second and the third, and if time permits us, then we will certainly discuss those kind of issues. So the second question is, as all of us know, the BRI has already become the greatest global project in human history. Right? Look at how many countries have participated, how much money it has. BRI has. So in terms of that, some people are actually expressed their concern that BRI can be an imperial or a colonial project and can have some serious impact on the international status of Nepal as a state. So on that particular questions, let me ask this question to Mirendra sir quickly, and then we. Okay, so sure. So Dev Gurung sir, Dev Gurung sir ले चाहिँ यो नेपालको अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय मामलामा संविधानले कल्पना गरेको जुन हाम्रो नेपाल राज्यको इन्डिपेन्डेन्स, अटोनोमी, सोभरेन्टीमा चाहिँ BRI को असर कस्तो हुन्छ भनेमा छोटकरीमा बताइदिनु भयो भने.
धन्यवाद. नेपालको वैदेशिक नीति भनेको पञ्चशीलको सिद्धान्तको आधारमा असंलग्न परराष्ट्र नीति अवलम्बन गर्ने कुरा हो र त्यही आधारमा विकास निर्माण लगायतका पूर्वाधारहरूको निर्माण र वैदेशिक सहायताको सन्दर्भमा पनि त्यसैलाई केन्द्रबिन्दु बनाएर अगाडि बढ्नुपर्छ, राष्ट्रिय अर्थतन्त्रलाई केन्द्रबिन्दु बनाएर अगाडि बढ्नुपर्छ भन्ने हो. र यो कोणबाट हेर्दाखेरि BRI-ले अहिलेसम्मको BRI-को अवधारणा, सोच, विचार र प्रस्तावनाहरू हेर्दाखेरि अहिलेसम्मको चाहिँ घटनाक्रम अथवा अहिलेसम्मका गतिविधिहरू हेर्दाखेरि नेपालको राष्ट्रिय स्वाधीनताको प्रतिकूल हुन्छ भन्ने लाग्दैन. नेपालको राष्ट्रिय स्वाधीनता अथवा नेपालको फरेन पोलिसी भन्दा प्रतिकूल हुन्छ, विपरीत हुन्छ भन्ने लाग्दैन. मलाई लाग्छ अब सापेक्षिक रूपले अझ अनुकूल हुन सक्छ भन्ने लाग्छ. किन त भन्दाखेरि नेपालको राष्ट्रिय स्वाधीनताको लागि राष्ट्रिय आत्मनिर्भर अर्थतन्त्रको विकासको जरुरी हो. राष्ट्रिय अर्थतन्त्रको निर्माणको लागि तपाईँको पूर्वाधारको रूपमा सेयरिङ गरेर डेभलप गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ जसरी कनेक्टिभिटीको हिसाबले उत्तर दक्षिण यो कनेक्टिभिटीको विस्तार गर्नुपर्छ भनेर चाहिँ हाम्रो मार्केट विस्तार गर्ने लगायतका चाहिँ तपाईँको चाहिँ उत्पादित वस्तुहरूको व्यापार विस्तार लगायतका पक्षहरूको बारेमा अर्थतन्त्रलाई केन्द्रबिन्दु बनाएर हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ मलाई लाग्छ यो कनेक्टिभिटीको विकास र विस्तारले नेपालको राष्ट्रिय अर्थतन्त्र मजबुत हुन्छ. जति राष्ट्रिय अर्थतन्त्र मजबुत हुन्छ त्यसैको सापेक्षतामा नेपालको स्वाधीनताको रक्षा, पञ्चशीलको सिद्धान्त, असंलग्न आन्दोलनको अथवा असंलग्नताको नीतिलाई पनि अझ स्ट्रेन्थेन गर्छ भन्ने लाग्छ. धन्यवाद.
这个一带一路我看了，我了解的话，因为尼泊尔现在我们也要发展当中，然后一带一路是基础设施建设、互联互通有关的，所以如果一带一路相应跟我们合作的话，尼泊尔的经济会繁荣，经济会好，尼泊尔的国家也会独立，更加不会影响外来的一些烦扰，所以我觉得一带一路在尼泊尔来说非常重要的这个项目。
म यही प्रश्न सुरेन्द्र पाण्डेज्यूलाई पनि.
मलाई फेरि प्रश्न भन्नुहोस् त.
यो BRI चाहिँ नेपालको संविधानले जुन नेपाल राज्यलाई जस्तो परिकल्पना गरेको छ यसको विदेश नीतिको बारेमा, त्यो विदेश नीतिसँग BRI को कस्तो सम्बन्ध हुन्छ, मित्रतापूर्ण या शत्रुतापूर्ण भन्ने बारेमा, अथवा यसलाई सहयोग गर्छ कि असहयोग गर्छ भन्ने बारेमा संविधानले कहे हुन्छ.
यो प्रश्न झट्ट हेर्दा कुनै गाह्रो प्रश्न छैन, किनभने नेपालको संविधानले सबै प्रकारका सहयोग साथ लिएर नेपाल बनाऊ भन्छ. यो देशको ल्याऊ, यो देशको नल्याऊ, यो संस्थाको ल्याऊ, यो संस्थाको नल्याऊ भन्दैन. संविधान त तटस्थ छ, न्युट्रल छ, देश बनाउने कुरा मात्रै गर्छ. तर प्र्याक्टिकल कुरा चाहिँ के हो भने जब देश बनाउने चाहिँ कसरी भन्दा देश बनाउने त मानिसहरूले हो, मानिसहरूले गर्ने निर्णयबाट हो, राज्यले बनाउने गर्ने निर्णयबाट हो, सरकारले गर्ने निर्णयबाट हो. त्यसको के असर पर्छ होला भन्दा यो कुरामा चाहिँ अलि बढी विचार गरेर काम गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने पक्षमा छु म। अलि भावनामा भन्दा यथार्थसङ्गत भएर जानुपर्छ। फर इक्जाम्पल नेपालको अहिलेसम्मको ट्रेड चाहिँ कस्तो छ भन्दा 64% प्लस ट्रेड इन्डियासँग छ, लेस देन 14-15% चाइनासँग छ र बाँकी विश्वसँग बाँकी हाम्रो चाहिँ व्यापार छ। 64, 5, 69, 79, 20-21% अरूसँग छ। लार्जली नेपालको इकोनोमी चाहिँ इन्डियन इकोनोमीसँग चाहिँ टाइट छ। त्यो इकोनोमीसँग अलग रहेर चाहिँ फेरि चाइनासँग मात्रै निर्भर गएर अहिले नेपालको इकोनोमी चल्छ त भनेर भन्यो भने फेरि धेरै गाह्रो छ। मान्नुहोस् चाइनासँग हामीले कनेक्टिभिटी पनि बनायौँ, सामान चाहिँ ल्यायौँ, तर सँगसँगै हाम्रो साउदर्न बोर्डरबाट चाहिँ हामीलाई समस्या सिर्जना भयो भने चाहिँ के हुन्छ? नेपालको इकोनोमी जसरी हामीले सोचेका छौँ आत्मनिर्भर भएर देश जान्छ भन्ने त्यो नहुन सक्छ। उनीहरूको नाकाबन्दी र उनीहरूको अप्ठ्यारो स्थिति आयो भनेदेखि हामी चाहिँ कठिनाई र चाहिँ के भनेदेखि जनसङ्कटतिर जान पनि सक्छौँ। त्यसैले निर्णय गर्दाखेरिमा चाहिँ यी सबै कुरालाई सन्तुलन गर्ने गरी गर्नुपर्छ। यो चाहिँ के भने भावनाले हामीले यहाँ बाटो खोलेपछि दनादन चाहिँ त्यहाँ व्यापार हुन्छ र अनि हाम्रो देश चकाचक भएर संसारमा चाहिँ चम्किन्छ भन्ने मैले त्यस्तो देख्दिनँ। म अलिकति अर्थमन्त्री भएर हेरेको मान्छे र मोर चाहिँ के भने प्र्याक्टिकल वेबाट 1 पैसाको पनि इन्ट्रेस्ट र चाहिँ सामा ब्याजको चाहिँ पैसाको तलमाथिले के इम्प्याक्ट पर्छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ बडो विचार गरेर गर्नुपर्छ। व्यापार नगरेका व्यवसाय नगरेका मान्छेले चाहिँ जम्मै ठिक कुरा हो भन्छन्। नेता चाहिँ के भने त्यो त व्यापार गरे आइडिया छैन। अलिअलि म चाहिँ इकोनोमिक्सको विद्यार्थी र अर्थमन्त्री भएको हुनाले व्यापारको थोरै आइडिया पनि भयो। व्यापार चाहिँ के भने त्यसरी सब्जेक्टिभ कुराले हुँदैन, एकदमै अब्जेक्टिभ लेनदेनका कुराको आधारमा प्र्याक्टिकल्ली त्यो हामी सस्टेन गर्छौँ कि गर्दैनौँ भन्ने आधारमा जानुपर्छ। त्यस हुनाले यो चाहिँ डिसिजन चाहिँ के आधारमा गर्नुपर्छ भन्दा हाम्रो सबै जियो पोलिटिकल कुरालाई पनि ध्यानमा राख्नुपर्छ। यद्यपि म के कुरासँग सहमत छु भने कङ्ग्रेसका साथीहरूले चाहिँ के भने पैसा चाहिँ चाहिन्छ अनुदान देऊ भन्ने कुरासँग म सहमत छैन। माग्नेले अनुदान मात्रै तातो भात भन्ने हुँदैन। पैसा पनि चाहिएको छ तर तातो भात मात्रै मलाई दिनुपर्छ, पहिलोको पाका चाहिँ बानको मलाई दिनुपर्छ भन्ने त्यो प्र्याक्टिकल हुँदैन। पैसा हामीले हाम्रो देशको हितमा लिनुपर्दछ। देशको हित हुँदैन भने लिनु हुँदैन, जतिसुकै मित्रता होस् टाढा होस्। हाम्रो राष्ट्रिय इकोनोमीलाई चाहिँ त्यसले मद्दत गर्छ भने त्यसमा हामीले लिनुपर्छ। त्यसमा कस्ता कन्डिसन राख्ने, कसरी राख्ने, अघि नै मैले केही कन्डिसनको कुरा गरेँ। कुन पैसामा पैसा ऋण तिर्छौँ हामी, हाम्रो कति ट्रान्ज्याक्सन हुन्छ, यी जम्मै क्यालकुलेट गर्नुपर्छ। जस्तो अहिले हाम्रो पोखरा एयरपोर्ट बन्यो, चलिरहेको छैन। पोखरा एयरपोर्टले दनादन गर्नुपर्ने त अरू बाहिरी दुनियाँले हामीलाई चाहिँ अप्ठ्यारो चाहिँ, किनभने त्यो त एक प्रकारले भने लक गर्थे। हामी पोखरा एयरपोर्ट चलाइदिँदैनौँ भने त्यहाँबाट प्लेन चाहिँ उडाउँदैनौँ भने होइन, त्यस कारणले त्यो हाम्रो चल्न सकिरहेको छैन। त्यसै गरी अरू कुरामा पनि यो खालको चाहिँ रिफ्लेक्सन भयो भने नेपाल के हुन्छ भन्दा अप्ठ्यारोमा पर्छ। त्यो भएले यी सबै कुरा विचार गरेर जानुपर्छ। धन्यवाद।
首先那个宪法是合并的，宪法没有说从哪里贷款什么做什么什么的，然后做实际上情况是人来做的。那人类做的时候要非常清楚，要试事的时候要很注意。关于尼泊尔来说，如果尼泊尔的贸易来说，48%是这个印度的，40%是中国的，10%是中国的，剩下的其他的国家。那我们也不能说，一旦开通路，所有的贸易都会到中国，也不能说，所以我们要平衡，我们要注意这个问题。同时呢，尼泊尔需要什么，我们都要讨论，我们都要实际上研究。同样，我不是特别同意大会党的朋友从中国光要援助贷款不行，但是这个也不能是这样的话，这也不好。贷款是别人贷，然后这个援助是中国人来，这个是不可以的。但是呢，我们做每一个项目的这个效益和这个意义和这个什么样的利润分享，这些都要清楚。如果一旦不清楚，我们就不好弄。 因为我自己也是经济学家，也是一个已经当过财政部长，所以所有的数字特别清楚。有的时候1毛钱、1块钱也会影响很大的，包括如果我们一旦来中国，以前我们有经历过的封锁的各种各样的问题，所以我们要和平，我们要跟南方和北方都有同样的关系，我们要特别注意。所以我现在说很多东西呢，我们非常要注意，包括现在我们可以看到一个例子，波哈拉机场，我们花了这么多钱建了一个机场，现在是有人说不认可不批，我们就一直这个不太好，所以呢，这个别人不帮忙，我们这个一直没有成功，所以我的意思是，所有的事情做出来，计划之前，所有的项目，好坏都要考虑，然后对尼泊尔对方方面面的要认真研究、考虑或者说，所以不能是一句话来所有的东西能确定。谢谢大家。
बेन सरलाई यही प्रश्न मैले एकचोटि रिपिट गरौँ कि क्लियर खासै यो BRI ले नेपालको अन्तर्राष्ट्र अथवा वैदेशिक एकदम ब्रिफ
छोटो 1 मिनेटमा म के भन्छु भने अघि हाम्रो के अरे प्रोफेसर साहबले भनेको तपाईँ प्रोफेसर हुन्छ यसमा चाहिँ मेरो एउटा सजेसन के छ भने यो सवाल जवाफ अलि नगरौँ भन्ने लाग्छ कि
ठिक छ ल
मेरो सल्लाह के छ भने उहाँहरूको स्ट्यान्ड उहाँहरूले भन्नुभयो हाम्रो स्ट्यान्ड अथवा चाहिँ अरूले अब उहाँले त्यसरी प्रश्न गरिदिँदाखेरिमा के गाह्रो पर्छ भने अब यहाँबाट हामीले चाइनाले हरेक स्ट्यान्डमा चाहिँ गरे प्रश्न हामीले गर्न थाल्यौँ भने हाम्रो राष्ट्रिय हित
मैले
त्यसमा नजाउँ हामी
मैले त्यसलाई सुने त्यसलाई म आवश्यकताका हिसाबले ग्रहण गर्दछु र अगाडि जान्छु म प्रश्न चाहिँ के थियो मेरेन्द्र सर भने हाउ डज BRI बेयर अन अथवा इम्प्याक्ट मात्रै नभएर मैले बेयर अन जेनेरिक टर्म्स भने बेयर अन इन्टरनेसनल relations, affairs and status of Nepal as enshrined in the constitution? First, very briefly.
We are a sovereign nation. We conduct our foreign policy. And then with the same authority that we sign any treaty with China, we use the same authority to sign with any other country in the world. And in that sense, I mean, our Chinese friends should understand as clearly as our other friends also. We try to use that given the situation that we are in, and then we try to stay and say or take positions in such a fashion that we work in the best interest of Nepal. That's one. Second, I echo the sentiment Surendra Pandey alluded to at the beginning. Raised when we talk about the projects, certainly conditionalities, interest rate, payback period, currency denominations are very important. But at the same time, since we said in BRI that we'll be negotiating on a project-by-project basis. So when that project comes up, then we can negotiate those terms. I'm not saying that all projects should be on the same conditions. And third, I echo the sentiment expressed by Professor Yun Song that connectivity is important.
Yeah.
Yes, connectivity is important, but I would love to see that road connection improves. To me, I mean, I'm a very sharp critic of the railway projects. I'm a supporter of 3 road projects. 4 passing through Kosi, Kimathanga corridor. I'm a great supporter of Karnali corridor. I'm a supporter of Tatupani. I'm a supporter of the Gondigi corridor also. These are priority. Given the level of development that we are in, given the importance that the trade is going to go, Raswa.
Okay.
These are important. So that should be done. And third, I guess, I mean, when we talk about connectivity, then again, I mean, do I not support Tokha Chhare Tunnel? Yes, of course I do. Do I not support Hilsa Simcoe Road? Yes, I do. I mean, project by project negotiation can happen there. And then, I mean, I can give a list of projects also. And at the same time, I guess, I mean, connectivity as it stands today. Right? There is still much more to go, and then if we are not mindful of the fact that how much connectivity we have to the international world today, and if we do not play our games, our card very well, then we probably would not help ourselves, we probably will not help
Okay.
Nepal-China relations.
Okay, thank you. So I have a slightly differently phrased questions to our Chinese scholars. So, to the best of my knowledge, Chinese Communist Party has incorporated BRI into its party constitution, right? In 2017, I'm not sure about the date, but I'm sure about what it has done. So, how do you see BRI as an important component of Chinese foreign policy? Professor Yang, very briefly.
So, 中国国家主席习近平2013年在提出这个“一带一路”倡议的同时，我想大家如果关注到的话，他同时还提出来一个概念，就是这个人类命运共同体的这样一个概念。在这样一个概念下，实际上昨天也有下面的人给我做了一个提问，就是关于这个3大这个倡议：全球发展倡议、全球安全倡议、全球文明倡议。这个我了解到的是，我们尼泊尔官方已经表态要加入这个全球发展的这样一个倡议。那么在这样一个推进这样一个坚持这样一个倡议的这样一个背景下，事实上我们要推进中国和尼泊尔的这样一个合作。中国对于这个周边，它也有自己的这样一个立场和主张，那就是事实上在这个去年的这样一个联合声明当中也提到了，这个就是我们有一个与邻为善、以邻为伴的这样一个周边外交的这样一个方针。
BRI को बारेमा कुरा गर्यो भने चाहिँ अब 2013 मा हाम्रो राष्ट्रपति सी जिनपिङले जुन इनिसिएट लिनुभएको त्योभन्दा पछाडि थुप्रै विकासहरू भएको छन् र त्यसमा स्पेसल्ली चाहिँ 3टा मेन प्रायोरिटीहरू हो र त्यसमा चाहिँ अझ विकासको साझेदार र विश्वभरिको जनताको जीवनस्तर उकास्ने कुराहरू भएको हो र लास्ट इयरको जुन हामी दुई देशबीचको एमओयूमा पनि हाम्रो जुन मेन कुराहरू चाहिँ 4वटा कुराहरू गरेको छ अनि त्यसैले नै यो जुन यो सबै हाम्रो छिमेकीलाई चाहिँ एकदम विकासको एउटा पार्टनरशिपको कुरा हो भन्ने。
那么在这个实施这样的一个外交方针的这样一个政策的这个背景下，我们推进“一带一路”一个很重要的这个一个原则，就是这2天我们的很多学者在交流过程当中都提到了这样一个共同商量。我们这样的一个倡议，事实上就是共同商量着办，而不是说我们中国主导着办，或者说是由尼泊尔的这样一个意志来牵引的这样一个合作的这样一个协议来办。
यो चाहिँ चीन सरकारको एउटा विदेश नीति भन्दा पनि हामीहरूले चाहिँ विभिन्न सहकारीहरू सल्लाहहरू डिस्कस गरेर गर्ने कुरो हो। हामीले कसैलाई नि जबरजस्ती र बलजफ्ती यो गर्ने भन्ने भन्दा है कसरी गर्ने भन्ने कुराहरू मात्रै हो। त्यसैले चाहिँ चीनको एउटा विदेश नीति भन्दा चाहिँ सहकारीको जुन संसारभरिको मान्छेहरूको विकासको लागि पार्टमा चाहिँ सहकारीको एउटा पोर्सन मात्रै हो यो चाहिँ।
So, Professor Wang, do you want me to repeat the question one more time, or no? So how do you? Let me repeat this one more time for our audience also. So, how do you see BRI as a manifestation or a implementation of a foreign policy? Part of manifestation or implementation?
Yes, talking about the diplomacy, I think there's a professional, realistic, rational way to practice it. So I would go like this. We're living in a realistic world. This is not a world of religious, essence. You don't pray to God in this realistic world. And even the God cannot answer your prayer sometime when it is too much. And I would call for, rational and constructive engagement with China when you're talking about diplomacy. For Nepali political parties, I think the path forward should be guided by rational expectations and constructive engagement. Bearing in mind your national interests, prioritize it, please. But also, bearing in mind of China's sensitivity, interests as well. This is the way to conduct diplomacy. And I think our government stands ready to work with all parties in Nepal that seek to advance national interests, your development, no problem with that. A long-term vision based on stability, policy consistency, and public welfare should transcend short-term political competition here in this world, in Nepal. As China and Nepal deepen the bilateral relations, I think inter-party cooperation must remain a channel for strengthening mutual understanding. I'm not lecturing. I'm not patronizing. This is a humble suggestion. And just now we mentioned that our Congress Party leader just mentioned about the support of BRI. Thank you so much for mentioning that. One more minute, if you don't mind. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. But I think merely verbal support is far from being enough. Support should be incumbent on decisive actions and high level of commitment, concrete form of commitment in terms of your support, contribution, either in financial way or some other ways. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for your very concise and meaningful response to that. So now we are entering a third round, and third round I want every panelist to be very specific to the questions rather than being generic, because only specific answers are productive and helpful in our discourse. So the question is, what are the two major prospects that BRI brings for Nepal and other foreign assistance or international assistance you think do not? भनेको बिआरआईले के त्यस्तो दुईटा प्रोस्पेक्ट ल्याउँछ तपाईको धारणामा, पार्टीको धारणामा, जो अरू असिस्टेन्सहरूले ल्याउँदैन, या तपाईलाई अरू असिस्टेन्स जस्तै लाग्छ? त्यसको बारेमा संक्षिप्तमा आफ्नो मत भन्नको लागि मैले देव सरबाट सुरु गर्न खोजेँ। दुईटा मात्रै सर। त्यो छ त्यहाँ। अर्को छ?
धन्यवाद। अब यो अरू सहायताहरू र बिआरआईको सहायतासँग जोडिएका विषयको सन्दर्भमा अहिलेसम्मको सहायताहरू हेर्दाखेरि बढीभन्दा बढी विदेशी सहायता ज्यादा अनुदानमा ऋणमा देखिन्छ र त्यसको परिणाम चाहिँ कता गइरहेको देखिन्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ बढीभन्दा बढी सीमित मात्रामा बहुराष्ट्रिय कम्पनीहरू र एकाधिकार कम्पनीहरूको लागि बढी लाभदायक हुँदै गइरहेको देखिन्छ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि अरू सहायताहरूले राष्ट्रिय अस्मितालाई कति स्ट्रेन्थेन गर्यो, राष्ट्रिय अर्थतन्त्रलाई कति स्ट्रेन्थेन गर्यो भन्ने कुराको बारेमा केही छलफल र बहसको विषय बनिरहेको छ र बिआरआईले अगाडि सारेका परियोजनाहरू, अहिलेसम्म हेरेका परियोजनाहरू 9वटा परियोजना, अरू पनि सम्भाव्य अरू पनि हुनसक्छ भन्ने छ। ती परियोजनाहरू हेर्दाखेरि बढीभन्दा बढी पूर्वाधारसँग जोडिएका परियोजनाहरू देखिन्छन् र ती पूर्वाधारहरूको विकासको परियोजनामा मुख्यतः चाहिँ उत्तरतर्फको ट्रान्जिट पोइन्टहरूको चाहिँ यातायात सञ्चारहरूको विकास र विस्तारले नेपालको राष्ट्रिय अर्थतन्त्रलाई गुणात्मक रूपले वृद्धि गर्छ भन्ने लाग्छ। त्यस कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अरू परियोजनाहरू र तपाईको बिआरआईको परियोजनाको बीचमा राष्ट्रिय अर्थतन्त्रलाई स्ट्रेन्थेन गर्ने दिशातर्फ हो कि या राष्ट्रिय अर्थतन्त्रलाई कमजोर पारेर परनिर्भरताको दिशामा लैजाने हो भन्ने कुरामा फरक छ। अहिलेसम्मका चाहिँ अरू विदेशी सहायतासँग जोडिएका पक्षहरूबाट हेर्दाखेरि नेपालको अर्थतन्त्र परनिर्भरतामा गइरहेको छ, हरेक क्षेत्रमा परनिर्भरतामा गइरहेको छ, आत्मनिर्भर बन्न सकिरहेको छैन। बिआरआईको चाहिँ परियोजनाले उत्तरतर्फको नेटवर्कको कनेक्टिभिटीले चाहिँ राष्ट्रिय अर्थतन्त्रलाई स्ट्रेन्थेन गर्छ, विकास गर्छ भन्ने लाग्छ। त्यसकारणले मौलिक रूपले गुणात्मक रूपले चाहिँ विगतका कतिपय अरू बहुराष्ट्रिय कम्पनीहरूसँग, खास गरी ओल्ड ब्याङ्कसँग, एडिबीसँग, अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय मुद्रा कोष लगायतका संस्थाहरूसँग गरिएका चाहिँ सम्झौताहरू सबैभन्दा बढी ऋण त त्यहाँ देखिन्छ, 90% ऋण त ती बहुराष्ट्रिय कम्पनीहरूसँग देखिन्छ र त्यो पाटोलाई हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ के देखिन्छ त भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ बिआरआईसँगको चाहिँ सम्झौता तुलनात्मक रूपले विगत कालका सम्झौताहरूभन्दा अलिक फरक खालको, गुणात्मक रूपले फरक खालको हो जस्तो लाग्छ। धन्यवाद।
首先 我们之前尼泊尔用的这些国际援助啊，这些有些要不贷款的模式，要不呢它这个国际大公司的推广，或者它的这个垄断性的，然后他们的东西买卖在尼泊尔有推进他们的公司这种，所以鼓励看到强调某一些大公司的这个风格的援助或者是贷款等等有这种，但是我们现在看中国的一带一路的话。这样的话，第一个它有强调，现在第9个项目是强调基础设施。一旦有基础设施呢，尼泊尔的这个经济发展有很大的帮助。另外一个，这个项目呢，现在有的9个项目以及其他的项目的话，跟中国和尼泊尔的这个边境互联互通这个基础方面比较大的。那一旦有基础呢，我们这个经济依赖性会减少了很多，因为这个交通有交通就比较方便。另外，我们以前跟其他的国家的这个援助和贷款的话，世界银行、国际汇率、亚洲银行等等的话，90%以上的那个贷款呢，基本上让我们依赖其他的国家的经济。但是“一带一路”的话，它现在基础上，一旦有基础设施的话，我们国家会独立经济，自己能生产、自己能出口等，这个经济上会比较独立。所以我们期待这个“一带一路”会比其他的区别。
धन्यवाद। यसरी नै आउनु हुन्छ। मैले यही क्वेसन goes to Minendra sir. Do you want me to repeat the questions or you are clear enough?
Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you.
The first thing, I want to reinforce it again. Yes, developing infrastructure is very important. Physical infrastructure is very important. And some of the projects that I included in BRI, I'm open to negotiating each of them. For some, I have reservations. And then when we talk about that project, I'll certainly talk about I'll clarify what my reservations are. For Nepal, way forward would be how we develop our hydropower potential. Way forward would be how we develop our tourism potential. Way forward would be how we improve productivity of our agriculture. Way forward would be how we can leverage the technology for economic development. On all of these fronts, I guess, one country cannot be at the expense of the other. Our relationship with China cannot be at the expense of relationship with any other country. We live in a global world. Our relationship with India is important. Our relationship with China is important. Our relationship with America and the West is important. Our relationship with other countries, many other countries in Asia is also important. And then what we want to do, ideally, if we can, and we'll try as much as we can, to conduct our foreign policy so that we can benefit to the maximum potential possible. And then when BRI provides us such an opportunity, I cannot just sit down here and say, well, either you take something from China or from the US. Either you take MCC or you take BRI. That's not my point. But at the same time, I guess with any friend, a very good friend, I've always kept this expectation that when I discuss Nepal's relationship with China, I would not like to compare that with any other international friend. Because our relationship, we conduct our foreign policy as a sovereign nation. And then when we do that, we understand, you have to understand our sensitivities, and we have to understand your sensitivities. We understand how big an important player that you are in the world stage today, right? That we understand. But at the same time, what that should mean for us is what is the most that we can ask China for? What is the most that we can ask? And then same question goes to India also. Same question goes to the US also. And then especially in today's world, when the new world order seems like emerging, I'll be very frank and candid on this one. New Trumpian world order. I don't know how that's going to be like. And then, do we close our eyes? No, we don't close our eyes. Our eyes are open, but we have a feeling that we trust every friend, but we verify what we want to do with those friends.
Okay, thank you, Minendra sir. So the same question actually goes to Surendra sir also. BRI ले
धन्यवाद। मैले बुझेँ। पहिलो कुरा चाहिँ तपाईको प्रश्नमा मेरो सजेसन के छ भने यो लोन ठीक छ कि त्यो लोन ठीक छ अथवा यो प्रोजेक्ट ठीक छ कि यो पैसा ठीक छ कि त्यसरी छलफल नगरौँ भन्छु म। हामी एउटाको विकल्पमा अर्को रोज्न सक्ने ठाउँमा छैनौँ। यसलाई छोडौँ, यो मात्रै लिउँ, यो मात्रै यो छोडौँ, त्यो मात्रै लिउँ भन्ने अवस्थामा कमसेकम हाम्रो देश छैन। त्यस हुनाले एउटाको विकल्प अर्को, अर्कोको अर्को भन्ने ढङ्गको जवाफ चाहिँ कठिन हुन्छ। मैले अहिले त्यस ढङ्गले जवाफ दिनु उचित पनि ठान्दिनँ। जहाँसम्म BRI को कुरा हो, BRI र कनेक्टिभिटीको जुन कुरा छ, कनेक्टिभिटी हाम्रो एकदमै प्राइमरी कुरा हो, एकदमै प्राइम इन्ट्रेस्टको कुरा हो। काठमाडौँ रसुवागढी रेलमार्ग अथवा सडक मार्ग जोडिने हो भने त्यसले हाम्रो दुई देशको कनेक्टिभिटीलाई एकदमै सपोर्ट गर्छ। म त्यो सुरुको दिनदेखि नै त्यसको पक्षमा रहेको मान्छे हुँ। चिनिया साथीभाइसँग मैले धेरै पटक रिक्वेस्ट गरेको छु। मैले यो वा त्यो भनेर किन बहस नगरौँ भनेर तपाईँहरूलाई भनेको भने मेरो आफ्नै अनुभव छ। चीनसँगको एक्जिम ब्याङ्कको थियोरिटिकल सहमति चाहिँ प्रेसिडेन्ट रामवरण यादवले गर्नुभएको थियो। त्यसको व्यावहारिक इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन गर्ने एग्रिमेन्ट चाहिँ मैले गरेको थिएँ $200 मिलियन को। त्यो पैसाको लेनदेनको सम्झौता चाहिँ मैले गरेको थिएँ, मैले साइन गरेको थिएँ। माथिल्लो त्रिशुली 3A बनाउँदाखेरिको $200 मिलियन को। यद्यपि त्यो BRI भित्र थिएन, एक्जिम ब्याङ्कको लोन हो, पहिलो लोन हो हामीले चाइनासँग लिएको। दोस्रो, पोखरा एयरपोर्टलाई पैसा माग्ने चिठी लेख्ने मान्छे पहिलो मान्छे म हुँ। त्यस कारणले मैले के भन्न सक्छु भने त्यो पनि BRI मा लेखा होइन, एक्सेप्ट BRI। त्यसको प्रयोग कसरी भइरहेको छ भन्ने कुराको समीक्षा हामीले गर्नुपर्छ। त्यस कारणले म चाहिँ के भन्दिनँ भने यो प्रोजेक्ट ठिक, त्यो प्रोजेक्ट बे ठिक, यो देशबाट ल्याएको ठिक, अर्को देशबाट ल्याएको बे ठिक। लोनको इम्प्याक्ट अलमोस्ट एउटै हुन्छ। जहाँ हामी ऋण लिन्छौँ नि, ऋण भने त ऋणको समब्याज तिर्नुपर्छ। त्यो तिर्ने कसरी भने कमाएर तिर्नुपर्छ। यो विषयमा राम्रो छलफल, राम्रो ज्ञान जरुरी छ भन्ने मलाई लाग्छ। तर के सत्य हो भनेदेखि हामीले पैसा हामीले BRI मा खास गरी यो इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोजेक्ट, त्यो पनि म चाहिँ के भन्छु भने मलाई कसैले सोध्यो भने त 1 नम्बरमा के रोज्छस् भने काठमाडौँ रसुवागढी सडक मार्ग अथवा रेल मार्ग रोज्छु म। त्यसो भए त्यो ढङ्गका प्रोग्रामहरू बन्यो भने त्यसले देशलाई एकदमै महत्त्वपूर्ण भूमिका खेल्छ। यद्यपि अरू ठाउँको चाहिँ सडकहरूको अरू पूर्वाधारको महत्त्व छैन भने होइन मैले। कोशी करिडोरको महत्त्व होला, कर्णाली करिडोरको महत्त्व होला, या गण्डकी करिडोरको महत्त्व होला, यो सबै आफ्नो महत्त्व छ। तर अहिले यतिखेरको लागि चाहिँ सबभन्दा धेरै त्यो देख्छु मैले काठमाडौँदेखि त्यहाँसम्म जाने। र तपाईँहरूको प्रश्नमा कस्तो नहोस् भन्दाखेरिमा चाहिँ तैँले यो लिस्ट भने चाहिँ अर्को हाम्रा सबै कन्डिसनहरू नै छन्। अहिले ग्लोबल्ली मैले बुझेसम्म के छ भने कुनै पनि देशले बिना कन्डिसन पैसा दिँदैन। देयर इज नो फ्री लन्च।
धन्यवाद सुरेन्द्र सर। हामी त्यो त्यससँगै अर्को प्रश्नमा जान्छौँ। संक्षिप्तमा इन्टरप्रिटेसन गरिदिनु भयो भने
第一，我不想对比哪个好哪个不好，但是我一直跟很多中国朋友一直沟通，一直讨论很多不同的项目。其实这个我最早是这个特殊利贷款的项目是我来签字的，同时呢，波卡拉当时没有“一带一路”的概念，同时呢，波卡拉机场也是这个要贷款，是我当时当财政部长的时候申请过。也是当时没有“一带一路”，实际上这些东西呢，怎么用，怎么能最大化利用，这个是最关键的事。另外一个，我是特别同意，希望中国和尼泊尔的这个主要的话，陆路沟通，这个 connectivity 那个互联互通、交通基础设施是最重要。我现在是不管怎么样，加都到边境基隆的高速公路也好，快速也好，铁路也好，我是最强调的是这个。然后我也知道这个世界上没有免费的那个事情，所以你贷款你必须要付钱那这个条件是世界各地什么银行、什么地方、什么国家都一样的，没有太大的区别。但是主要是我们自己要看我们的这个能不能做，它的好处在哪里，最大的利益是什么。然后我再跟说，我现在是最希望能做的是中国尼泊尔这个交通的这个加都基隆的铁路或者是高速路等等，谢谢。
Thank you. So now I would like to ask the pretty much same question to Chinese scholar Yang Gabu. What do you think is the distinctive What do you think is the prospect that BRI brings for Nepal, specifically the distinctiveness of BRI?
OK， 这个也是我反复跟大家要交流的。我这两天反复说的这个五通，跟这个五通是紧密相关的。我想着，只有事实上我们在这个政策沟通这一块，我认为我们两个国家之间的这样一个政策沟通是非常顺畅的，并且我们在这个关于这个互联互通这个设施联通这一块，我们也有强大的这样一个共识，强烈的这样一个共识。这两天我们的这个很多专家学者个发言当中都提到了，包括我们要修铁路，包括我们要开更多的这样一个直接的通航的这样一个飞机。那么我想着这个在这个政策沟通、设施联通的这样一个基础上，能够给我们带来的两个非常明显的这样一个前景，我自己觉得就是一个贸易的这样一个增加。这个我在西藏这2年调研，疫情以后，我们在这个随着这样一个设施联通，我们在这个边境地区的这样一个口岸，正式的这样一个口岸，包括这个14个这个传统边贸点的这样一个开放，我们中国和尼泊尔在这个边境贸易这一块的话，这个数字增长是非常快的，这是我觉得一个能够给我们带来一个很显著的这样一个前景的方面。另外一个方面，我觉得就是五通里面的这样一个民心相通。那么民心相通其实体现在就是我们双方的这样一个人员的这样一个互动的这样一个加强，包括我们这一次我们西藏能够从西藏直接这个从拉萨飞到这样一个嘉都，这个表明我们的这样一个人员的这样一个互动也在不断的加强，并且我们中国的这样一个游客也能够更多的到尼泊尔。当然同时我们的这个尼泊尔也有更多的人，不管是学生也罢，不管是商业人士也罢，能够更多的到中国去。那么我觉得这个是2个很重要的这个前景。
मेनली चाहिँ यो कनेक्टिभिटी बढाउँछ, कनेक्टिभिटी बढायो भने चाहिँ जुन ट्रेड बढ्ने पक्का नै छ। र यो कोभिड पछाडि पनि मैले राम्रोसँग स्टडी गरेको थिएँ। अहिले 14वटा नाकाहरूमा कुनै सर्ट टर्म मुभ गऱ्यो भने स्पेसल्ली यो नेपाल चीनको ट्रेडहरू बढाएको छ। र जब रेलवे जुन कनेक्टिभिटी बढ्यो भने अटोमेटिकल्ली बढ्छ। र अर्को चाहिँ नि मैले यसमा त्यो कनेक्टिभिटीको कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ म आज लासाबाट प्लेनबाट आएको हो, त्यसले गर्दा चाहिँ कनेक्टिभिटी बढ्यो भने टुरिज्म बढ्छ र थुप्रै नेपाली विद्यार्थीहरू र चिनिया विद्यार्थीहरू नेपाल आउने जाने गर्नुभएको छ। त्यसरी पढाइहरूमा र एजुकेसन एक्सचेन्जमा नि काम गर्छ र पार्टिकुलरली चाहिँ अब ट्रेड र टुरिज्ममा फाइदा हुन्छ जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई।
Thank you. So the same question goes to Professor Yuan. So what do you think are the 2 major prospects that BRI you think brings and perhaps other initiatives cannot?
Okay, I strongly concur with what my Chinese colleague just mentioned about what kind of benefits BRI will bring about in Nepal. I have nothing else to add up to that, but I will say it another way around. I will tell you what the BRI will not bring about. That's the damage to your sovereign independence. It only beefs up your sovereignty. China, as a reliable, trustworthy, and kind neighbor of Nepal for the past 7 decades, we never asked Nepal should have certain relations with any particular country in this world at the expense of anything. Nepal is a sovereign country. We cherish that. We don't want to have something happened in Sikkim to repeat in this piece of land. We don't want to have something, happening to those vassal states repeat here in this country. We want to see Nepal as a strong, independent, prosperous, harmonious state, standing independent and defiant to any external influence. If you think that relations with China has somehow become troublesome, say no to us. If there is any particular country in this world providing you either grants, either loans, with strings attached, say no to them. If this happens with China, say no to China, please. That's my answer.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your emotionally charged answer, I guess. I appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate. No, when it comes to a question of sovereignty, independence, autonomy, everybody is emotionally charged, and there is no problem with that, I guess. So I am pleasantly surprised on this round 3. All six panelists reached an unanimous conclusion that connectivity is a distinctive feature of BRI, which other international projects have not brought about and cannot bring about, right? So, and then connectivity with China, with enormous market, will be very beneficial for Nepal, is the conclusion that we raised. So this is a pleasant surprise for all of us, and especially on Surendra sir's concern. Actually, I was not, the question was not intended to mean comparing BRI with other projects directly, but as a sovereign nation, we should certainly be weighing the advantage of BRI and disadvantages of BRI, and then advantages of other international assistance and disadvantages. That's what foreign nation actually does. I think Verinda sir would not disagree with me. So anyway, we now allow me to enter round number 4, which round number 4, I have a very simple questions, but I assume this question is eating everybody's mind in Nepal here. And the question, let me put the question directly to Dev Gurung sir. So what do you think is the biggest challenge to the implementation of BRI? BRI परियोजना कार्यान्वयनको एउटा सबभन्दा biggest challenge. Very concise and very brief answer.
धन्यवाद। अब यो कार्यान्वयनको पाटोको बारेमा अहिलेसम्मको घटनाक्रमलाई हेर्दाखेरि नेपाल पक्षले नै पहल गर्न जरुरी छ। नेपाल पक्षले आफ्नो स्वाधीनता, पञ्चशीलको सिद्धान्त, असमानताको सिद्धान्तलाई दृढतापूर्वक आत्मसातीकरण गरेर चाहिँ अहिलेसम्मको सन्दर्भमा एक प्रकारले ल्यान्डलक कन्ट्रीको रूपमा रहेको अवस्था भएको हुनाले एक प्रकारको परनिर्भरताको दिशामा गइरहेको अवस्था हो। त्यसकारणले मलाई लाग्छ उत्तरतर्फको कनेक्टिभिटीले चाहिँ ल्यान्ड लिङ्कको रूपमा लैजान्छ र त्यसले नेपालको अर्थतन्त्र र स्वाधीन बनाउने क्रममा गुणात्मक रूपले मद्दत पुग्छ भन्ने लाग्छ। त्यसकारणले यो प्रश्नमा राष्ट्रिय स्वाधीनताको पक्षमा दृढतापूर्वक उभिन सक्यो यो BRI प्रोजेक्ट बन्ने प्रक्रिया अगाडि बढ्छ। स्वाधीनताको पक्षमा दृढतापूर्वक उभिन सकेन भने मलाई लाग्छ BRI सम्झौताको रूपमा मात्रै थन्किन पनि बेर लाग्दैन भन्ने लाग्छ। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद। एकदम संक्षिप्त र राम्रो उत्तरको लागि।
这个主要看我们国家是怎么考虑国家经济发展怎么考虑。如果国家现在一样的依赖别人的经济，这个不一定能实现这一带一路的生意。如果国家想经济提高等等的话，这个能实现。所以这个我们国家领导国家要考虑的问题。
धन्यवाद। यही प्रश्न म वीरेन्द्र सरलाई पनि सोध्न चाहन्छु। एउटा या म्याक्सिमममा दुईटा बिगेस्ट च्यालेन्जेस टु द इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन अफ BRI।
First, we have not initiated any BRI projects yet.
Let's broadly call it.
We have not done that. Right?
Chinese investment. Let's call it Chinese investment.
So I mean, if we want to stay within BRI, then certainly it would be something we are starting out.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd be more than willing to take a look at each of them and then talk about them. But I mean, if we at this point you tell me what are the biggest challenges, then I mean, I guess I mean, for something we have not started out yet. I would not be able to say anything. But few other things I'll talk about. How have we started? Let's review that a bit. But before I do that, I certainly would like to bring this up. When Prime Minister Dahal visited China and signed a joint statement, his foreign minister was a Nepali Congress guy. When Prime Minister Oli signed joint statement with China, his foreign minister is a Nepali Congress friend. So I guess I mean if you try to, I mean I certainly would be, I certainly need to point out that I mean as long as all political parties, major political parties, are on the same page, it does extremely well for any bilateral relationship. Be that with China, be that with India, be that with US or any other country. So I would love to see that this evolves in such a fashion that all political parties will be on the same page on BRI. If BRI becomes something that will create differences between political parties. That's not going to do us any good. That's not going to do BRI any good. I should certainly point out that. Second is some of the languages that I saw in the new joint statement, some of the new terminologies used in the new last joint statement. That's certainly, I'll be honest here, as I think I prize that my friends tell me their feeling honestly, and I tell my feelings very honestly to the friends. Some of the new terminology, some of the new phrases that appeared in the last joint statement, that has created some confusion. We have to clear those confusions out. If we cannot clear those confusions out, then again what it might mean is, when you look at us, some political parties, some leaders might seem more friendly, and when we look at you, and then we might say, well, they're reaching out to certain political parties, not to the others. And then on bilateral relationship, that cannot happen. With India also seems true. We'd love to see that Indian political parties have similar relationship with all Nepali political parties, and we would also like to see that Chinese Communist Party has similar relationship with all political parties of Nepal. And then if we cannot do that, that probably might create a problem. So first thing is, let's get something moving, and then if we start negotiation somewhere, then you can say this may go up. And second is, if you do not keep in your mind that Nepal is fortunate to be a neighbor, to be a country in between India and China, but at the same time that creates lots of opportunities, but that creates challenges also. So you have to understand the parameter within which we operate our foreign policy, both with India, with China, and other countries. So we would love to benefit from both of our neighbors. It is to our advantage. We don't want to lose out from what we can get from China. And then to end, I would like to remind you, China was one of the first countries which provided us budgetary support long time back. I would love to see that budgetary support comes back.
Thank you.
And
okay. मैले प्रश्नलाई अलिकति थपेँ पनि, जस्तो यो मैले BRI भन्यो, यहाँ BRI को डिबेट हुनाले चाइनासँगको हाम्रो सम्बन्ध 1990 पछाडि अरू देशसँग जति गाढा भयो त्यही अनुपातमा गाढा भएन भन्ने चिन्ता छ, एन्ड आई थिङ्क द्याट्स अ लेजिटिमेट वरी, राइट? सो त्यो कन्टेक्स्टमा सुरेन्द्र सर कसरी हेर्नुहुन्छ चाइनाको BRI को परियोजनाको इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन या चाइनिज इन्भेस्टमेन्ट जेनरलको इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन?
धन्यवाद। म त्यस्तो देख्दिनँ, होइन, मानिसहरूले विभिन्न एङ्गलबाट हेरेका होलान्। 1990 पछिको विकासमा नेपालले प्यारलली इन्डिया र चाइनासँग, जस्तो एक्जिम ब्याङ्कको पैसा चाहिँ इन्डियासँग लियो, त्यसपछि तुरुन्तै चाइनासँग लियौँ हामीले प्यारलली। इन्डियासँग पनि $200 मिलियन ल्याएको थियौँ हामीले, चाइनासँग पनि $200 मिलियन, पछि इन्डियासँग $150 मिलियन थपियो, चाइनासँग पनि हामीले चाहिँ के भनेदेखि पोखरा एयरपोर्टमा पैसा थपेर लियौँ। त्यसमाले एउटासँग ल्याउँ अर्कोसँग लिएनौँ भन्ने स्थिति होइन। अब पोलिटिकल हिसाबले अब राजनीतिक दलहरूका कतिपय राजनीतिक मान्यताको कारणले कहिले कोसँग अलिकति निकटता दूरी अब यस खालका कुराहरू भयो होला, तर एज ए स्टेट रिलेसनको हिसाबले कुनै पनि दलले दुवै मुलुकहरूसँग, छिमेकी मुलुकहरूसँगको मित्रताको सम्बन्धमा चाहिँ तलमाथि गरेको जस्तो मलाई लाग्दैन। र त्यस हुनाले पनि मलाई के लाग्छ भने तपाईँले सोध्नुभएको प्रश्नमा यो BRI को एक्जिक्युसनको सन्दर्भमा मेरो चाहिँ एउटा अब्जर्भेसन के छ भने, यदि सबै काम एकैचोटि गर्ने भनेर तपाईँले भन्नुहुन्छ भने तपाईँ केही पनि काम गर्नुहुन्न। सबै काम म अहिले नै गर्छु, एकैचोटि गर्छु भन्नु पनि केही पनि गर्नुहुन्न। 10औं परियोजना चाहिँ तपाईँले छुट्याउनु भयो, यो पनि गर्ने, त्यो पनि गर्ने, त्यो पनि गर्ने, त्यो पनि गर्ने, त्यसको लागि चाहिने यति धेरै पैसा हुन्छ कि तपाईँ म्यानेज गर्न सक्नुहुन्न। लेट्स स्टार्ट फ्रम वान infrastructure project that should be Kathmandu Kerum road or railway project, यहाँ एउटाबाट सुरु गरौँ। त्यसमा बेसिकल्ली के भने कुनै पनि दलहरूको यसमा विमति देख्दिनँ म। अहिले नेपालमा सरकारमा भएका, सरकारमा नभएका सबै दलहरूको करिब करिब सहमति छ। अब यसमा चिनिया पक्षको पनि मेरो अनुरोध के छ भने, चिनिया पक्षले पनि यसमा चाहिँ एक कदम अगाडि बढेर हामी अब सुरु गरौँ भन्नुपर्छ। अब यस खालको छलफलै मात्रै गऱ्यौँ भने त वास्तवमा कहिले पनि हुँदैन। दलहरूको बिचमा चाहिँ दलहरूले त पनि सरकारले एक्सेप्ट गर्ने बित्तिकै त धेरै विरोधको सम्भावना कम छ। चिनिया पक्षले पनि अगाडि बढ्नुपर्छ, एउटा प्रोजेक्टबाट सुरु गरौँ, त्यो सुरु गरिसकेपछि त्यसमा कुनै समस्याहरू आए, च्यालेन्जहरू आए भने त्यसपछि अरू प्रोजेक्टको लागि पनि त्यसले अनुभव दिन्छ। जस्तो मानुस जमिन लिने समस्या होला, अरू अधिग्रहणका अरू विभिन्न समस्या होला, या अरू कुनै जियो पोलिटिकल कुनै कन्स्ट्रेन्टहरू पनि क्रिएट भयो भने पनि त्यसले अनुभव अरूलाई चाहिँ अरू प्रोजेक्टलाई चाहिँ मद्दत गर्छ। तर एउटा प्रोजेक्टबाट सुरु गरौँ र त्यसमा दुवै पक्ष नेपाल साइड चाइना साइडले पनि अग्रसर हुनुपर्छ। चाहिँ अब नेपालमा वातावरण बनिएको छैन भनेर चीन पछि बस्ने, चीनले चाहिँ केही गरेन भनेर नेपाल साइड बस्ने गर्यो भने त यो त त्यतिकै लिङ्गर भएर जान्छ। त्यसलाई छिटो इम्प्लिमेन्ट गरौँ, मेरो आग्रह छ। अब दोस्रो चाहिँ मैले के भन्छु भने चिनिया चाहिँ कोर कन्सर्नको बारेमा नेपालका राजनीतिक दलहरूमा बेसिक दलहरूसँग कुनै विमति छ जस्तो लाग्दैन। नेपालबाट चीन विरोधी कुनै गतिविधि नहोस्, एक चीन नीतिलाई हामी मान्दछौँ। चीनका अप्ठ्यारा पनि हामीले जानेका छौँ र हाम्रो अप्ठ्यारा पनि चीनले जान्नुपर्छ। त यो कुरा चाहिँ के भने यसरी नै हामीले सोच्यौँ भने हामी अगाडि जान सक्छ।
首先呢，我们看到两国有这个近和远的关系。其实就我们跟印度和中国一样的，我们当时从印度也贷款，中国也贷款，都一起。主要“一带一路”的话，这个我特别强调，因为很多项目一次性做不出来的话，金融啊方方面面都不够，所以我现在觉得就第一个做出来，第二个就会好。所以我们现在可能所有的党派政府都同意嘉都基隆的这个高速路或者是铁路，我们第一建好。这个建好呢，两国家边境会更好，所以这样子我们就比较快。所以我也同时希望中方也是鼓励这个方面大家加快速度，不需要很多的项目。另外一个，我们尼泊尔不管是什么单位，不管是什么政府，我们一直同意一个中国政策，然后我们一直这个了解中国的问题和我们的意见，然后同时我们也希望中国也会一直了解我们的问题。所以我觉得主要是开始第一个项目是最重要的，所以我强调是嘉都基隆是最关键的，现在能做到。
So let me put the question very briefly and debate the questions. What do you think are the two biggest challenges to the implementation of BRI? And the question goes to Dr. Janata. Very quickly, sir.
正如前面先生所说，尼泊尔这个各个党派，他对于这个一个中国的这个政策，它是有强烈的这样一个共识的，这个是我们这个无过的。但是在这个关于这个发展，或者说是利用什么样的这样一种方式进行发展上面，我觉得我自己的一个感觉是，我们可能各个党派之间没有形成共识，这也就是我们今天可能坐在这里要进行一个讨论的一个原因，这是一个方面。我觉得一个障碍就是我们的各个党派之间对于如何发展、如何跟谁来发展，没有形成一个强烈的这样一个共识，这是一个tendency。another tendency，我觉得就是在对接机制上，因为我们中国跟尼泊尔的这样一个合作，我们很希望就是大家建立一个这样一个共赢的、共同发展的这样一个机制。但是我们的这样一个政府，可能跟咱们的这样一个跟尼泊尔这个政府，跟尼泊尔这样一个对接的过程当中，到底和政府进行对接，还是跟市场进行合作？在这一块，我们中国方面可能有一些困惑，面临一些尼泊尔合作的一些障碍。
मलेसियामा चाहिँ तपाईँलाई सबै पोलिटिकल पार्टीहरू सबै प्रतिको लागि हुन्छु। दोस्रो कुरो चाहिँ अब हाम्रो यो आज हाम्रो डिस्कसको कुरोले कुन मोडालिटीबाट गर्ने भन्ने कुराहरू चाहिँ हामीहरू क्लियर नभएको, कुन मोडालिटी गर्ने भन्ने कुरो चाहिँ क्लियर नभएको जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई। कुन पार्टीसँग गर्ने कि कुन मोडलबाट गर्ने कि कसरी गर्ने भन्ने कुराहरू चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ क्लियर नभएको हुनाले हामीले डिस्कस गर्नु पर्यो जस्तो लाग्छ। र अर्को कुरो चाहिँ धेरै सम्झौताहरू भइसकेपछि हामी कोसँग चाहिँ कम्युनिकेट गर्ने, सरकारसँग गर्ने कि पार्टीसँग गर्ने कि लोकल गभर्मेन्टसँग गर्ने कि व्यवसायीसँग गर्ने, हामी चाहिँ एमओयूहरू इम्प्लिमेन्टहरू गरेर त्यसलाई कसरी इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन गर्ने भन्ने कुराहरू चाहिँ हामी जहिले पनि चिनिया पक्षहरू कन्फ्युज भइरहेको छ, त्यसलाई चाहिँ गर्ने भन्ने हाम्रो ठुलो प्रश्न त्यही विधान जस्तो लाग्छ।
Okay, धन्यवाद. Now, of course, the biggest challenge to the implementation of BRI.
I strongly support our Nepali colleagues' arguments saying that they should discuss, on the basis of project-specific discussions and negotiations of this matter. I agree with my Chinese colleagues. You mentioned the challenges either from within or outside. I have 2 points to add on here. First thing is the financial challenges is lying ahead of us. And the financial resources available to BRI is not unlimited. We have a lot of commitments to our partner countries around the world, along the Belt and Road. And they also ask for loans, for projects, for support. And through negotiations in a timely way, we may find that the projects somewhere around the corner might be more, viable in comparison with what we're discussing here now. So, with the financial resources diverted to other, fronts, the resources available to Nepal will be draining, and someday it'll be very difficult for us to pull together the financial resources required for this, Kilong to Kathmandu railway or highway. Let me do a small calculation for you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. If we're talking about the railway in China, the cost per kilometer of railway for very ordinary terrain, it costs like 20 to 50 million RMB. But if we factor in the most difficult terrain here in Himalaya into the scheme, the cost will go up like 3 to 5 times. Consider it. If we put together all the costs together, it may add up to as much as 70 billion RMB. That's 10 billion US dollars. If this is the case, if indecisiveness continue to happen here in Nepal with projects postponed, stalled, one way or another, the cost will go up even higher. Please do approach international financial institutions like IMF, World Bank, or to some other countries, let's say the United States, India, European Union, ask them whether they're willing to contribute to this much financial resources to just one connectivity project. Do your calculation, please. I thank you.
Thank you. By the way, thank you very, very much for pointing out the potential problem which we actually had not considered or which actually we were unaware of. Thank you very much for that. So now this is now we go for participants' questions. In view of time limit, I think it is good for me to restrict questions to 6 or 7. I think that's okay for everyone, I guess. So let's make. I request you to make your question.
प्रोफेसर साहबले भन्नुभएको थियो कोसँग डायलग गर्ने, डायलग त सरकारसँग गर्ने हो, सरकारले डिसाइड गर्नुपर्छ। किन अब पार्टी खोजेर डिसाइड गर्ने त होइन, सरकारले डिसाइड गर्नुपर्छ, पार्टीहरूले त्यसलाई ब्याक गर्छन्, त्यसलाई पछि गर्छन्, जनताले पनि साथ दिन्छन्, त्यसलाई पहिलो निर्णय चाहिँ सरकारले गर्नुपर्छ।
थ्याङ्क यू।
मेरो प्रश्न छ, म धनराज वास्तविक।
तपाईँको प्रश्न कसलाई छ भनिकन
नेपाली काङ्ग्रेसका विद्वान नेता
सरलाई
मिनेन्द्रलाई हाम्रो यो विडम्बना के
छोटो गर्नु
अलि लामै छ कि छोटो भन्दा महत्त्वपूर्ण छ यो। अरूहरूको अगालो हाल्न हामीलाई 25-30 वर्ष लाग्यो। त्यति बेला हामीले के हामीलाई थाहा छ। फर्केर हेर्नुहोस्, माथिल्लो कर्णाली अहिलेसम्म लाथालाङ्ग छ। भारतले लिएको, भारतको जिएमआर कम्पनीले त्यो कति लगानी गर्न थाल्यो, के गर्यो, त्यो कथा आफ्नै कथा, छुट्टै कथा बनिसकेका छ। यी यस्ता धेरै योजना छन् र चिनिया पक्षबाट पनि त्यस्ता धेरै योजनाहरू लथालिङ्ग भइरहेको परिस्थितिलाई हामीले लुकाउन मिल्दैन। यताबाट सुरु गरौँ भन्ने लाग्छ। अब आज पनि सुरेन्द्र कमरेडको र अब मिनेन्द्र कमरेडको यहाँ कुरा सुनियो। दुवै कमरेडको कुरा सुनिसकेपछि अलिअलि BRI को बारेमा हामीले नेपालको राजनीतिमा मुख्य राजनीतिक दल अझ यो अलिकति कन्ट्राडिक्सन अझै देखिएको छ। यसलाई हामीले कसरी चाहिँ तलसम्म यो होइन है भनेर सत्य सन्देश कसरी प्रवाह गर्न सक्छौँ, राजनीतिक दलको सहमति चाहिँ कसरी हुनुपर्छ भन्ने मेरो जिज्ञासा हो। धन्यवाद।
ल क्वेसन छोटै गर्नुभयो, लामो गर्छु भनेर तर्साउनु भएको थियो।
The only way we can show consensus is by not saying too many things out loud.
प्रोफेसर याङ याबु अलिक डिफ्रेन्ट क्वेसन भएकोले मैले कतिपय क्वेसन फिल्टर गर्नुपर्ने हो, नरिसाउनु होला। अघि नै उत्तर आइसकेका प्रश्नहरूमा पनि प्रश्न आयो कि, त्यसैले कसैको प्रश्न मैले पढिनँ भने मसँग नरिसाउनु होला भन्छु। र एउटा क्वेसन के आयो भने यहाँ चाहिँ गिभन द ल्याक अफ कोअपरेसन बिट्विन दिस क्वेसन इज directed to Professor Yang Yabu, and the question goes this way. Given the lack of cooperation between China and India, Nepal will face the risk of its infrastructure project becoming white elephant, very costly despite investment. In such a challenging situation, what kind of policy can be useful to address this problem? Professor Yang Yabu.
我想我们的很多的这样一个具体的这样一些项目，它是一个双边层面的，是一个两个国家合作层面的。我觉得不应该去考虑更多的这样一个范围内的其他的这样一个主体的这样一个考虑。我觉得只要这样的一些项目，不管是基础设施项目，还是贸易项目，还是人员交流的这样一些政策，更多的是只要对我们两个国家的这样一个发展有好处，我们就应该积极的通过这样一个商讨去落实它、推进它，而不应该考虑更多的这样一个因素。
हामी धेरै फ्याक्टरहरूलाई जोडेर हेर्नुभन्दा नि दुई देशको सम्बन्धलाई हेरेर हाम्रो नेपाल र चीनमा र स्पेसली नेपालको विकासको लागि के काम हुन्छ, त्यसले कति बेनिफिट दिन्छ भनेर हेर्दा चाहिँ सजिलो हुन्छ। धेरै त्यो फ्याक्टरहरूलाई भेरिएबलहरू राख्यो भने चाहिँ हामी राखिरहँदैनौँ। स्पेसिफिक केसमा स्पेसिफिक प्रोजेक्टलाई कुन चाहिँ बढी बेनिफिट हुन्छ भने त्यसलाई हेरेर गर्दा राम्रो होला। धेरै ठुलो भेरिएबल राखेर कुनै पनि काम गर्न गाह्रो हुन्छ।
थ्याङ्क यू। अर्को प्रश्न चाहिँ अलि प्रोजेक्ट स्पेसिफिक छ। What do you think about this question goes to तोक्नु भएको छैन, जेनरल होला, कसै एकजना प्यानलिस्टले भन्नुभयो हुन्छ। What do you think about emphasizing agro-based industry in Nepal, perhaps in opposition to some sports or other kind of activity? What do you think about emphasizing agro-based industry? Anybody can pick up the question and yeah. Yes, sir.
My humble submission would be, as far as bilateral or multilateral cooperation is concerned, let's limit to the areas that we would do. I mean, if we say anything that can be part of Nepal's budget can be on plate for negotiation with any bilaterals. That's not it. I mean, yes, agriculture is important, but we have to do our own development, right? And at the same time, I made a pitch for the budgetary support also. And that's not only with China, with others also. So let's have a sense of proportion here when we talk about big, huge infrastructure projects. Yes, bilaterals are important, neighbors are even more important, multilaterals are important. But I mean, if we start thinking about everything that we need to do as a nation and then take this laundry list to our bilaterals, we're not going to get anywhere. Let's have sense of proportion here.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So again, there is a question in Nepali, but which is also, the question is concerned about India-China relation and how India-China relation, which is a kind of mixed relation, as all of us know, can potentially impact implementation of BRI in Nepal. Anybody can pick up a question, and if Minister would choose, yes.
India and China cooperate, compete, and have differences.
Okay.
They cooperate, compete, and have differences. We have to be mindful of the fact.
There is one more worry from Nepalese part. Indian establishment is alarmed by the increasing presence of Chinese investment in Nepal. That's official statement, by the way. How do you see that alarm? Do they have a legitimate ground for being alarmed or being concerned about Chinese increasing presence in Nepal?
But that's for us to reassure our neighbors, right?
Yeah, but that's a very complicated.
So if we can talk to them, not in public, not out in public,
okay,
privately, this is what we're getting from China, this is what we're doing with China, and then when you speak with Chinese, they'll say this is what we are doing with the Indians or with the Americans. That's how diplomacy is conducted. I mean, we're not going to stand up here and say, well, these are the things we're doing with Chinese, and we're not doing that with Indians. These are the things we're doing with the Indians, and these are not the things we're doing with the Chinese. I tell you very honestly, what brings me here is I value Nepal-China relationship.
India relationship, which sometimes is worse and which sometimes is okay. So yes, do we have? Yeah, okay, you can take this mic.
We're having some troubles with the bilateral relations with India, and there are still pending issues to be resolved between our two countries, two civilizational states. But to be honest, during our talking about the ancient relations from the very ancient time till now, the bilateral relations between these two civilizational states or countries, most of them has been very good. And according to our former state councillor, Dai Bingguo, he once said during a high-level track 2 dialogue with India, he said that 99% of our relations with India is good, very good. We have, flows of commodities. We have Indian monks coming to China, to teach Buddhism. Yeah. So, please, don't worry about the bilateral relations. We are wise enough to deal with it, to make it, conducive, healthy, stable. And in the times to come, I'm pretty confident we will reason through, we will talk sense to our Indian counterparts and make right the bilateral relations. As you've seen, the latest development in the bilateral relations, the interactions, exchanges between our two countries are gradually resuming. So I think Nepal doesn't have to feel, threatened by the ups and downs of the bilateral relations of your two giant neighbors. Don't worry, and you will be good.
Thank you for your assurance. Actually, that was very consoling because we are all worried about worsening. Sometime worsening. Now it's normalizing. It's good news that China-India relationship is normalizing, and let us hope it will further normalize. But Nepalese part is always worried that India-China relation, and India has a recorded history of trying to exercise some hegemonic privileges in Nepalese affairs a number of important times. So that is the situation that really worries us. But things are changing. We are glad that the Chinese side.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Okay, yes, I will come to you. I'll certainly come to you. We have 15 minutes in total, and that 15 minutes is yours. Perhaps 10 minutes is yours and 5 minutes for our panelists. You tell your questions in brief.
Yeah, sure. Welcome to Nepal, our distinguished guest. My name is Rita Pariyar. My question is Professor Dr. Wang. You are the showstopper of panelists today, I think so. As you, I like to repeat your own statement that neither God or nor China can answer every problem of Nepal, I guess. Then in the current status of the world, your countries are rising, and I think in the economically and each way of development, and then you guys are competing with the USA. So obviously, we would like to be friends with you rather than any other way of our friendship, you know.
What is your question precisely?
Yeah, I'm asking.
Yeah.
So, but to the question, you needed some feedback, right? So, what I'm trying to say is that, like, isn't that, like, wouldn't it be good for China to help Nepal to ensure keeping your own security too? You know, the way the Cold War is getting, you know. So, and at the same time, if you think that the amount of help that you're going to do, I mean, like in a grant or in a help either way, so you keep saying that, okay, you ask the other countries, European, USA, or either India, so anyone. So if it's not good for you, so don't take a help.
Yeah,
so
okay, okay, fair enough, fair enough. He wants to answer your question very quickly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, please. I take another question, please.
Can I go one by one?
Yeah, you just quickly answer this question. And
Okay. So,
very important question, by the way. Yeah.
I know, because I've been, frequented by this question or similar kind for many times. And somehow I get tired of this question. And we know that China is not liked by, each and every country on the surface of this world. There's some countries, they are very hostile to China, especially during the process of our rising to the global stage. And according to history, you can check it, Nepal has been used as the launch pad of hostile forces. And if the logic goes like this, can all the neighbors of China go with the same logic? We are guarding your border, and we are standing guard of your national security, so you need to pay me. Right? If you do not pay me, I will introduce hostile elements in this piece of land, and you will feel threatened. No, please, lady. The logic doesn't go like this. Doesn't go like this. You are a sovereign country. Don't treat yourself, downgrade yourself as some proxy of other countries. Either it's strong or weak. You are your own. You stand for your national interests, not someone else's. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, well said. So I take question from this side. Yeah, very brief. Good
afternoon and namaste to everyone.
Make your question very, very brief and concise.
I have already submitted to you, but I don't think it will come to you or not. Because I see that bunch of questions are there. Respected sir here, because we have here very, important personalities representing the political parties, which are the decision-making body in our country. And in these 2 days, I have felt something very wrong message is being conveyed to either Chinese side, and not good message we are taking from as a Nepalese side, because the discussion is taking place beyond the reality. Few minutes ago, we talked about the constitution of Nepal, and then we talked about the constitution of Chinese Communist Party. This is not the forum where we discuss about that. Here we are from the current stage, and we need assurance from the representative of the political parties who have a direct influence in the decision-making process in the governance of the country. So that's why my question is, there is one survey, and Dr. Shrestha, who had introduced this agenda this afternoon, she had referred the same, the survey which has been conducted under this project that was presented yesterday, and it said the 80% challenge arise to the BRI from the political parties in Nepal. The differences among the political parties. So we need to be very clear, what does it mean by that? if their political parties are not in favor of the BRI, then they have to justify it, why they are not in favor. And I don't see that there is a difference. It doesn't currently reflect correctly, because, as you said, 2017, we have already signed the MOU. Last year, we have signed the framework agreement. We have identified 9 projects. And this afternoon, panel's discussion also knew that there is some kind of harmonious position here, saying that at least go by the project on priority basis, on the basis of the cost-benefit analysis. Because that is, I'm just summarizing.
Sorry to interrupt you, but yes.
My question is, how these political parties, our political party in our Nepal can give a message to the China that we are consensus, we are dealing you united voice from Nepal to the China. Thank you very much.
Okay, pardon. Surendra sir, in one sentence, please. How do you want to give the message to China that you are...
तपाईलाई मैले के जवाफ दिउँ जस्तो लाग्यो भने
Very brief.
$200 million चाहिँ एक्जिम ब्याङ्कबाट चाइनासँग लोन लिँदाखेरिमा तपाईसँग सोधेको थियो कसैले? कसैसँग सोधेको थियो? नेपाल सरकारले सही गरे होइन? त गर्छ नि त बाबा। नेपाल सरकार, मैले अघि नै पनि एउटा प्रसङ्गमा भनेको थिएँ, सरकार अगाडि बढ्यो भने राजनीतिक दलहरू कसैले चाहिँ विरोध गर्छ र? निर्णय गर्ने कर्ता को? सरकार होइन? अब तपाईँले यस्तै प्लेटफर्ममा गएर ल्याउने कि नल्याउनेहरू बहस गर्दै जान्छ, बहस त त्यसरी हुन्छ। त्यसको मिनिङ के होइन नि, वी आर नट डिभाइडेड, हामी डिभाइडेड छौँ भन्ने होइन, वी आर युनिफाइड। साइन गरेका छौँ, सरकारले चाहिँ दुईटा सरकारको बिचमा बसेर अगाडि बढ्यो भने त्यो अगाडि बढिहाल्छ नि। त्यसैले यसमा हामीले धेरै डिबेट गर्नुपर्ने कोही जरुरत छैन। उहाँले कहाँबाट सर्वे ल्याउनु भयो त्यो अर्को कुरा हो। यसरी सोध्दै हिँड्यो भने त सर्वे त अनेक आउँछ। फेसबुकमा लेख्नु थाल्यो भनेदेखि सामाजिक सञ्जालमा अरू नै ओपिनियन आउँछ। त्यसलाई डिभाइड मान्ने र?
Surendra sir, fair enough. We got the message that Nepalese political parties, all of them are fully committed, right? If I conclude that way, I think, yes, please. Yeah, this.
Hello.
Very brief.
Hello. So my question. Hello. So my question to Professor Yuang Hongsheng.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Will China be able to advance its relation with Nepal, despite India's concern, considering its huge business with India, $120 billion?
Did you get his question? Do you want me to? Can you say that one more time? Yeah.
So, my question to Professor Yuang Hongsheng. So, will China be able to advance its relation with Nepal, despite India's concern, considering its risks of hampering of $120 billion trade with India?
Okay.
That's my question.
Yeah. Will China be able to deepen its relationship with Nepal if there are serious concerns from Indian side, or perhaps he means to say some opposition or something like that? Yeah.
And you have a $120 billion trade with India. Yeah. Will you hamper that trade?
Sure.
Thank you.
Probably you don't know, I have very frequent interaction with the Indian colleagues during the past decades, or two, and we exchanged on a lot of issues development on the subcontinent. We understand that because traditionally, historically, India treated Nepal as its backyard, while China does not. So this kind of concern we understand from the very beginning, but Chinese people like me, we don't see things through that lens. Why any country should become the backyard of any particular country? No, we don't buy it. India is an independent country. So is Nepal. Why the relations between China and Nepal bothers India? Because our sole purpose is to cultivate a robust economic, cultural, relations with Nepal, which means no harm to the security or other interests of India. So I want to add one more thing. You can, derive the conclusion from it. During the past, several years, since the inception conception of IIIB, do you know which country is the biggest beneficiary of the loans from AIIB, that's India. No, India received more than 1 billion, or 10 billion US dollars of loans from AIIB. Number one. If India has no problem with the loans from China, why do you have to have problems with that? You think about yourselves.
Yeah, thank you. So, let me read one question from this paper. So, the question is directed to Minendra sir and Surendra sir. Can we not select some international assistance and reject others? Is it not okay for a sovereign nation to endorse?
Yes, we can, but this is not the forum where we'll be doing that, right? Bilateral negotiations.